Hello there.
You scared the crap out of us.
We were just looking thoughtfully off into the distance.
And definitely not into your eyes. Your deep, sensual eyes. Welcome. Welcome to our humble abode. JD's humble abode. I don't live here.
To week 3.
I wouldn't live in this hovel.
Week 3 of
me.
press... Shut up. Of press trick to treat.
Spooky.
Sorry we were not available last week.
My fault. I was struck down by 3 separate illnesses at the same time.
One of them being a zombie virus.
Yeah. Got over it. Only infected a couple people.
Playing Left 4 Dead does that to you.
And a number of other spooky games that you can check out by looking at our Let's Play channel over there. That was just dynamic pointing. It definitely wasn't me being wrong.
Try that. Come on.
We definitely don't reference Johnny Bravo enough.
No, not enough.
So anyway, continuing on with our theme of playing spooky games while recording Let's Plays, while recording podcasts.
Yes. Let's podcast.
Today we'll be joined by this familiar screen. Banjo-Kazooie, a throwback to an old N64 game.
Not the one you see here.
That we're playing on... That's Tui. That's Banjo-Kazooie.
It is.
Down here in this tiny little box.
Whoa, we're shrinking.
We've already shrunk.
Oh.
You are behind. We'll be playing Banjo-Kazooie over XBLA because we can't record N64. Even though JD has it.
I do. It's under the...
a large collection.
Under the box.
Under the microphone, which is propped up on a box.
Yes.
So I'll hear right to that. Well, we get started.
Sweet.
We are playing... Oh gosh, it has been... No, I needed to go in there.
Yep. He's going the wrong direction. So...
We're playing the spooky level of Banjo-Kazooie.
It is entitled Mad Monster Mansion.
It has been forever, I can't remember.
Let's listen to that
there we
music.
go.
Listen to the sultry sounds. So both triggers will bring up Kazooie.
Thank you, that was what I was trying to remember. Oh, Kazooie.
What have you done?
And
He
within
just
moments,
starts
the
playing,
Let's Play
he
was
breaks
over.
it. So let's begin,
Should
as we always do, Jeffrey, with a little segment that we like to call What You Playin'? And as you can see, we are currently playing Banjo-Kazooie, Mad Monster Mansion.
So, let's talk about Banjo-Kazooie a little bit.
Yes, let's.
JD, you're a very long-time fan of this series.
Yes.
What can you tell us about Banjo-Kazooie?
It came out in '98. So it's been 14 years since this game came out.
Wow.
That's a long
Seems like it should
time.
be longer for some reason.
Watch out for the ghosts!
You can't do anything about them.
Developed by Rareware, now called Rare. They just lopped off the wear too much, I guess. You can use the Wonder Wing to kill him. Trigger and right on the joystick. Right joystick.
Thank you.
Welcome. Developed by Rareware, who also created such Nintendo gems as Donkey Kong Country 1 through 3. They made Jet Force Gemini in the N64. They made Donkey Kong 64.
They made Viva Pinata for the 360.
Yeah, after working on
leaving
the... Yeah, they left Nintendo at the end of the N64's life, and they'd only developed one game on the GameCube, which is Star Fox Adventures. Which we might go into more detail.
Oh, they made
later.
GoldenEye. They made Perfect Dark.
Yes. Oh, yes, of course.
Very famous games.
GoldenEye was kind of the pinnacle of first-person shooters at the time.
And we
on
kind
consoles.
of talk about them all the time.
Yeah.
Both in our podcasts and in our Let's Plays.
Rareware was one of my favorite second-party developers back in the day. They've since fallen a little bit in the opinion of many because of their since they're working just on the Avatar stuff for Microsoft, which is a little disappointing since they had so much talent there, and there's so many of them have left now. The founders left, and and I think the whole Banjo team is gone now. So they're kind of they've fallen.
I have to go around, don't I?
Yeah, you have to break the lock from the outside, I'm pretty sure.
Why didn't I just go that way in the first place?
I don't know. I couldn't tell you. Yeah, I first played this game late 90s sometime. I mean, I don't remember specifically. I remember renting the game twice in a row. I rented it, it took it for the 5-day span or whatever, and then we were taking it back, and my mom was like, well, do you just want to rent it again? I was like, yeah. And being a 12-year-old or whatever.
Cute little JD.
Played that thing, and then my mom said, well, if you weed the entire backyard, then I'll get the game for you. And so that's what I did.
You were allowed to weed when you were 12? Huh? Man, that was not safe.
Not like doing weed.
No. Wait, pulling weeds or using a weed whacker?
Pulling weeds.
Okay, those are two
different
things.
Yeah.
I was about to be really jealous. I was not allowed to use the weed whacker.
Oh no.
When I was 12.
But yeah, it's
I still can.
It has since become one of my favorite platformers of all time. It's pretty awesome.
Oh, I'm dumb.
Yeah.
I woke Napper.
How dare you? You can't wake a man named Napper.
No, it's kind of what he does. It's his whole life.
He be napping, man.
He's a napping man.
A napping man.
I want to get these notes. So the point of Banjo-Kazooie is to collect notes and jigsaw puzzle pieces to advance. That's really the entire game.
It's a collectathon in the purest form.
It's almost more of a collectathon than Super Mario 64.
I would say it's more of a collectathon because
in 64 all you need are stars, whereas here you need notes.
I mean, the coins are useful in that you need 100 of them to get a star in 64 at least.
Yeah.
But in this game, you need the notes to access new areas, to open up doors. You need the jigsaw pieces to fill paintings so that you can get into the new worlds. And then you need to collect 5 Jinjos in each world to get a jigsaw piece.
Jinjos are these stupid little, what do you even call them? Creatures?
They're bird-like. And they fly around and stuff. They don't have any wings, but they fly.
Yeah, nobody gets Jinjos.
But they sing and fly around you when you collect them, and it's adorable.
And they go, Jinjo!
Jinjo! Hi!
It's cute.
Yes. So, you recently played through this game.
Yeah, for the first time. I tried to play it in college and was not in the mood for a collectathon at the time.
Yes.
Come on.
So, playing this game 14 years later, what was your opinion of it? Does it hold up as far as what we've seen from platformers nowadays?
I mean, it's pretty classic. Really, there's nothing. It's how would you improve upon this model?
Right. It ages well.
It ages well because there's really nowhere for the genre to evolve. I mean,
I'm sure that there's nuanced ways in which the developers can think to change it, but
it's just a classic. It's a solid model.
Right.
You can make it. I guess it doesn't really stand out. It doesn't have anything that's exceptionally great, but it's like in the way that playing a classic Mario game is still great and solid. There's nothing really wrong.
Yeah, exactly. The experience is essential. I mean, the series works. There's no.
What do I do here? I forget. Oh, was this one of the stop and swaps?
Yes.
Yep.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah, we won't get into that.
The stop and swap, very, very briefly. There's this whole
mechanic that they hinted at and never made for the original games, and they finally did when they were re-released.
Yeah, the intent was to have this game and its sequel, Banjo-Tooie, to be able to hot swap out of the cartridge. You turn off the game, you put in the next game, and it would save the memory, and you would be able to access it.
Save it in RAM, and you would get new stuff.
And intuitive hackers were able to unlock the stop and swap menu from the original game. and you could access that stuff via Game Shark and stuff. But yeah, like he said, it's in nuts and bolts now. You can access, it gives you more stuff via the XBLA games in Stop and Swap, more vehicle parts and stuff like that. But yeah, it's a pretty classic platformer.
I got a piece. Cheers. Alright. I'm mistaken. Oh. So, this is what we're playing right now. What else have we been playing, JD?
Lots and lots of Mass Effect.
Yeah, that's true. We have been playing a lot of Mass Effect 3 multiplayer because we've already played the single player. But the multiplayer has had a lot of little expansion packs via free DLC come out, and we were kind of behind on it. And it's such a fun, easily replayable experience, you know? So there was no reason for us not to.
Right, it'd been so long since we played it, and there'd been like at least I think 2 DLCs.
So there was the Earth pack, which released a whole bunch of new characters in the N7 moniker. So they're all humans and they're all extremely special, just like Commander Shepard.
Yes.
There was the Resurgence pack, which we had played a bit, and that was one that had like the extra Krogans and the Asari Justicar and stuff like that. And then more recently was the
Retaliation pack,
which had some of our favorite new characters in it. Two of the Volus, who, if you've played Mass Effect, are, well, they're kind of Ferengi inspired from Star Trek. They're very commerce-focused. They're kind of cowards. They're short and teddy bear-like, and they speak funny.
They're adorable.
They're just kind of lovable little selfish jerks, you know? And now you can play as them in the multiplayer. One of them, a biotic god, which is a huge nod to a fan favorite from Mass Effect 2, a character. And the other one's an engineer who is kind of broken and super awesome. Like, we were able to use him to great effect. Yes. Two of him. But what I find cool about these expansions so much is how they're able to... Cut. You got a piece.
Yeah. No, I know. I thought you were wanting me to say something.
Yeah,
I was very confused.
Say something, JD. What's cool about it is they could have just been boring and just made each new character as stale and as similar to the other characters as the first original characters you start out with are.
They're much more unique.
But each one that they unlock is more and more ridiculous and completely different. Mm-hmm. Like, the Volus are very unlike any other character. They don't have a melee. They instead can just stealth at no cost whenever they want.
That's pretty awesome.
Like, they can cloak and go invisible for a
so
short period of time.
It's different than what they've had before. And so it just adds such a new dynamic.
They're
to the
huge
game.
support classes in that, like, one of their abilities just regenerates their shields instantly, and their teammates' shields, which is cool.
Super useful
and very
super useful.
Yeah, that's why they're broken. They can do that. And like the N7 ones are all ridiculous. Like, they can phase through certain things sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
And
you need to be the pumpkin.
I don't want to be the pumpkin.
You can kill those guys with the rat-a-tat rat, by the way.
But I don't want to kill them. Do I need to?
It helps.
Yeah, you help.
Yes, I do.
Disappointed I knew what the rat-a-tat rat was. You could have just said with pecking.
But that's not its name.
But it pecks.
Yes, it does, but that's not its name.
It's not my name.
So in addition to this, this was a huge update. They not only added new characters, new weapons, and they didn't add any new map. Well, they did add new maps, different versions of the classic maps.
Yeah,
like hazard versions of the maps. So essentially, what that means is that they take an old map and twist it in a way that makes it more difficult,
or adds more dynamic.
Right. Yes. So on like the reactor map, you can now close the reactor and burn anything that's inside it after it regens its energy or whatever.
It sometimes automatically does it too, so you can get caught in it.
Yes.
Which is a huge problem, as you can imagine.
Yes. And they also changed the dagger? Is it dagger? Is that what it's called? Or
Giant dagger?
Or giant?
No, giant is the big red one.
Okay.
I think dagger.
But it has a sandstorm now, so it makes you can't see very far anymore. So it's a lot more difficult to pick out your targets, and especially for
it makes it very
snipers. Especially for snipers, it makes it really difficult because you can't see through it, and a thermal scope doesn't even help you, which is kind of strange. But yeah, so it's a really cool dynamic, and I'm really excited that they're
doing that.
Still doing it. They're not
for
just
free.
Yeah, and for free, and that's just the most amazing, I think, is that it's for free. And they're still doing paid DLC, like for single player stuff.
Yeah, as was just announced today, there's new weapons that you can buy for your single player Commander Shepard.
Yeah, Commander Shepard. So that's pretty cool. But the pretty crazy stuff is that they add a whole bunch of. They added a new difficulty level.
Yeah, a new difficulty level. Challenges.
Challenges.
Which is like small in-game achievements that can give you titles, which is kind of fun.
Based on damage you do with certain weapons against certain enemy types.
Different waves you finish. I forgot you have fall damage in this game.
Yes, you do.
That's weird.
They also added... the difficulty setting, it's
called Platinum.
It's Platinum. It's beyond Gold. So, Gold is hard enough as it is. So that's pretty scary. We haven't done it yet. We've played Gold.
Apparently what's interesting for those of you who have played Mass Effect is you can get with Platinum, you supposedly can get more than one enemy type. So
yeah,
you say play Platinum against Collectors, and it'll say, okay, here's Collectors. Collectors, new enemy type. And then later on it starts spawning Cerberus. Cool, we have perfect enough.
Yes, perfect enough.
Perfect enough.
X.
Thank you.
So they've added Collectors now. So and not only did they add a whole new enemy type, but they added new enemy types within the enemy types.
Yeah, it's
so now the Geth have the Geth bombers. And
hate them.
Oh, they're so annoying. They're really difficult.
Love them in that they add a new dynamic, but
yeah.
Hate them in terms of when they show up.
They're difficult. They're tough. It's hard to pick them out sometimes because they're a lot smaller. They fly around and then dump bombs on you if they get close enough.
You cannot hide anywhere.
And yeah, it's difficult. And Dragoons. It's going from the top.
I know.
They added Dragoons, which are a Cerberus enemy type.
Oh yeah, I forgot about those.
Reapers. What are they?
I don't think they added anything for Reapers.
We haven't played very much.
We played one or two good rounds.
Yeah.
I sincerely.
We haven't noticed.
Oh dang it! I have to break down this fence.
Yeah. Wait.
Can I jump in these?
No. You have to put eggs in there.
Oh yeah, right.
And then the pots swear at you. Or they sound like they swear at you.
Sound like they're dropping an F-bomb.
Yeah. I never noticed that when I was a kid. I remember reading it later and I'm like, really? Oh, yeah. And then I went and did it and I was like,
the funny thing about Banjo, every time he gets transformed, he's always wearing the backpack, and he always has shorts. Even when he's a pumpkin, he wears shorts.
Yes.
That's a good jack-o'-lantern idea.
A banjo
pumpkin?
That would be pretty awesome. Also, he... very randomly, Mumbo will accidentally turn him into a washing machine.
Which is silly and weird.
It's just hilarious. Yes. And there's a cheat code where you can actually be a washing machine. And like running around as it, which you can in Banjo-Kazooie. It's an actual ability.
And have to.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, the new Mass Effect stuff. It's cool.
It's crazy. Check it out if you own it. And if you... we're bored with it and have been wanting something new. Check it out.
The challenges definitely add a new aspect that's fun. I mean, I admit I'm kind of an achievement.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Which sounds like. Sounds like they're saying F you.
Yeah. It's dirty British.
Oh yeah, by the way, shout out to our people listening to this on podcast and not watching the Let's Play.
Oh yeah, hey, you should check it out.
You know we love you.
Let's Play version. Sometime. It'd be cool.
I am now farting eggs
Yeah.
into flower pots. That's how weird this game is.
It's awesome.
So,
Yeah,
Mass
Mass
Effect.
Effect.
Yeah. Still good.
So, Jeff, you've been playing a new game.
I have. My friends are all getting annoyed because I talk about it constantly.
Really? I never heard you ever talk about that game, Jeff. I'm not being sarcastic at all.
So yeah, I talked last time, 2 weeks ago, we talked about the demo for XCOM, and that it had come out, and we had played it, I had played it, and XCOM's now been out for a week, and I definitely did not pretend to be just so I could just play XCOM. Definitely not. But yeah, it is just as addictive, difficult, frustrating, and rewarding as kind of was hoping it would be. There. Okay, we did the whole thing. So let's see. Look, it's in stained glass. Oh. Secret.
Ever to figure that out, but I don't think we could kill them.
Yeah, me too. Not that you ever. I don't think you ever need to.
Not necessarily, but it certainly helps.
But yeah, so there are a lot of differences between the new XCOM and the old XCOM, and if you've never played either, I can still outline them for you. So in the original XCOM, it was 1/3 base building game and resource management, where you half built a base up and did research and carefully spent your money on like weapons and employees and things, and watched this giant globe and sent out fighters against UFOs that you detected and built new bases in order to detect more UFOs. And then the other 2/3 was a isometric, which, as we looked at the definition, pretty much means diagonal from above, looking down on, like, you know, a grid-based world. Combat, where you controlled between like 10 and 18 very fragile, very inaccurate soldiers, and just tried to capture or kill aliens and capture their technology so that you could use it to build up your own technology to fight more aliens. What are you doing? Where are you going? So the new one is very similar to that. A lot of base building well, not a lot. There is less base building mechanic. You only have a single base. You never have to worry about it being attacked, which could happen in the first one. You shoot down a lot less UFOs than you did in the first one. But there's still this horrible management of, like, various panic of the countries that supply you money, where if like they start panicking too much, they'll drop out of funding you, and you'll have less money a month. And that's horribly stressful. You can definitely just screw yourself, basically. I don't get the shot. Oh right, you have to just spell out Banjo. This game has so many weird little puzzles.
It's great.
But the meat of the game is the tactical fighting area, which, instead of between 10 and 18, you have between 4 and 6, well, between 1 and 6 if you really want to, soldiers that you can send out on the field at a time. And it's very cover-based, which the first game was also very cover-based. But it was more, you had to figure out that it was cover-based yourself, you know? You would send people out and you could tell them to crouch, and there were walls, and you could figure out, you know, oh, I can shoot down this wall so I can kill that enemy. Tanks. But in this one, it's really cool and very streamlined, actually. It'll, like, show you how much cover people get when they go up to walls, whether it's full cover, half cover. It, you know, it lays out the percentages of chances of you hitting and chances of you critting against someone, and you can just switch weapons on the fly. You don't have to worry about ammo anymore, which is really nice, but you still have to worry about telling them when to reload and things like that.
Huh.
It's...
So do you directly attack?
Yeah, well, yes. You don't, like, shoot, but you tell them to shoot.
Okay.
And it's turn-based. You take your turn and move around, then the aliens take their turn. And it's very disconcerting if you can't see the aliens, because it just like says like alien movement, and then every once in a while you like spot them moving.
So is it kind of like Advance Wars or Fire Emblem?
Yes! Sorry, that's a good idea. I should have compared it to something. It's really similar to Fire Emblem.
Okay. Where you can lose people.
Yes. That's the most famous part of XCOM. If one of your soldiers dies, and they do,
they're dead.
It is virtually impossible to play a game without losing at least a full squadron of people. When I tried playing it on... So it comes in 4 different flavors. Easy, normal, classic, which is the one that's supposed to, you know, be most similar to the first game. I can't land on it. I do not want to. And impossible. And I tried playing on classic at first. And... oh my god. I was getting total squad wipes and coming back, and my barracks is like, you know, half full by that point. It's, oh my gosh, I have to spend money to hire more people, and I've lost all that experience that those guys had. It's such a slow downward spiral when you're losing, and you're like, oh, I can pull this out, and you can pull it out sometimes, which is really what's the worst part, but the best part. Because if you do pull out, you feel awesome. I hate everything.
You can use A to slow speed.
No, you can use A. What about you, Dad?
What about you, Dad? What about you?
There we go. Here you go. Get me out of here. So yeah, except with Fire Emblem, each character has their own little story. So... honestly, I'm less inclined in Fire Emblem to sit with someone dying. You know? Because I'll know I'm missing out on part of the story if they die.
Oh, yeah.
Whereas, in XCOM, it's accepted that people have to die, but they have names. After reaching a certain rank, it assigns them a nickname. You can, you know, you end up with a backstory, you're like, oh my gosh, this guy was here, and he did this that one time, and he's my super best sniper. It's just such a cool experience.
Yeah, I think we empty this later.
Maybe. I guess that would explain why you have to climb in your car. It's just so cool. And the main question people are asking is if it's a worthy successor to the classic XCOM, which is, by the way, considered one of the greatest games of all time. Repeatedly. I've seen this so many times. Like, it's one of those games I'll forget about, because, you know, I just played it when I was a kid, and didn't even think anyone else ever did.
Oh, yeah?
And then I see it on lists of the top 10 greatest games of all time, and I'm like, oh yeah,
really?
That was a ridiculously complicated, in-depth, and yet entirely maintainable game. It wasn't like Dwarf Fortress, which is so dense and thick that constantly adding features that it's just impossible for anyone to get into. I was 11 and I was able to get into XCOM, but up until, well, I mean, and still, like, this year people are still playing XCOM. And one thing that's awesome and it lends itself to, which I've completely glossed over and forgotten, is everything in it is random, pretty much. Where UFOs touch down, what the map happens in, the various missions that you get, your soldiers, what classes they're assigned to, all of it is random. So every time you start the new game, even if you've beaten the game before, there's still a point to replaying it. Over and over again. And I'm on the final mission, on the normal difficulty, and hopefully gonna beat it soon, and I'm definitely planning on continuing to play it, and this time play the first one.
Get some honeycombs, and then I'll grab it. And then we'll be good.
And this time I'm actually planning on sticking with classic mode. It's so hard! It's so hard.
So classic mode is you lose somebody, and then...
well...
or something happens and you stick with it, you can't go back.
No, classic is a difficulty. So there's a second difficulty modifier, which is Iron Man mode. And with Iron Man mode, it saves virtually every second. Like, every time you make a move, it overwrites the old save. You can't make saves from that autosave. And basically meaning, if you make a decision or you make a mistake, you're stuck with it unless you restart the game. Which is awesome. But here's the thing about Iron Man mode. I'm not gonna make this. It took me so many tries to do this first time.
Whoa!
Yes, I made it.
Nice.
Fine.
Shut up.
I hate everything.
So yeah, XCOM.
So a lot of people are praising XCOM for being a very hard-hitting, unforgiving game. And this is something that bugs me about it. People praise it for that, and yet people seem to like games that are forgiving. In our debates about... F the Wonder Wing. I'm just avoiding these guys. In our debates about, you know, if Torchlight or Diablo 3 is better, a lot of people like Diablo 3 because it doesn't lock you into... Fine. Oh my god. Because it doesn't lock you into, like, skill decisions and major decisions like that. And XCOM does. And thus it makes it very rewarding when you pull things off. Because I made a decision that could have bit me in the butt, and it worked out.
Yeah.
But if you do that in a way... If you have a modern action RPG that does something similar, people freak out. Because they don't like being locked into their decisions. They want to be allowed to make mistakes and not be killed by them. Come here. Yeah. Screw you.
Yeah, I mean, definitely today's people growing up with games today, like that have just started playing games, are used to it more, where
Being
they
nicer.
can exactly where. I mean, in the NES days, it was you die, you lose all your lives, you go back to the beginning, and you do it again.
You do it again and you like it.
I mean, it's either you stop playing or you start over. And, you know, I think that a lot of those people that like these kind of games are probably some of the older
gamers.
generation.
That is a good
gamer.
point. Most of us playing XCOM that I've seen were fans of the original.
Right. And so there's, you know, definitely something to be said for that. But just because a game...
Every note is the same.
It's haunted. But yeah, just because a game... I mean, games don't have to do that nowadays because they have a save feature. And it's sometimes it feels like they're just doing that just to be hard, you know, just to put fake difficulty into the game.
But is it fake difficulty if your game is entirely balanced based upon that mechanic?
No. That's the thing. I mean, it's certainly... It's opinion-based, definitely, but, you know...
I hate the phrase fake difficulty. Honestly.
Has it been said a lot?
It's a huge... Oh, yeah. Be on the internet more, JD. It's a huge buzzword. TV Tropes came up with it.
Huh.
And,
I'd never heard anybody else talk about it before.
And people use it to refer to, like, Dark Souls, which is, a very difficult and unforgiving RPG. Or to old Nintendo games that didn't let you save and things like that.
Yeah, but the thing is that old Nintendo games, they did that because their games weren't long. And so...
They were, yeah.
If you were to save, you would beat it in a night, or a week, or whatever, and you'd be done with it. There'd be no reason to go back. And, you know, and obviously the save function really hadn't been fully fleshed out at that point. And Zelda did it, but that was because...
I was not paying attention.
In a game like that, you know, if that was a long game, and it needed a save function. You know, in today's games, most of them are longer than a few hours.
Yeah.
And so having that, the lack of a save function just isn't a viable option. For the most part. I'm sure there's exceptions. But, you know, and so they're coming up with different ways.
Indie games.
Yeah, exactly, indie games. But, you know, now they're just coming up with different ways to add this difficulty in, and XCOM is a good example of that.
Something in the rafters, isn't there?
Yeah, you have to.
It's just an extra life.
You have to. I think there's other stuff up there, but you have to use the flag pad. There it is.
Yeah. Oh, it's good.
So yeah, I mean,
so yeah,
difficulties.
fake difficulty, huh? What's the deal?
Yeah.
So, one other thing we've been playing a little bit of, continuing to play Borderlands 2. It's maintaining our interest, at least. Last night I managed to hit level cap and beat the game on the second playthrough.
God dang it.
JD.
It's hard to aim the flying.
Yeah, it is. But it's still fun. So you've played as Gage a bit, the new DLC character, the Mechromancer, or the Mech Romancer. Oh, it's like a triple meaning.
Triple?
Yeah.
Double?
No, there has to be a third one.
I guess, if you say so.
Mechromancer is mech and necromancer.
Right.
You know, that's like...
But that's kind of one meaning.
Okay.
I mean, it's that's not really two.
Whatever.
But yes, I've played as Gage, the Mechromancer, and so her far left tree, I think, is the one that's supposed to be the casual gamer tree. And it has a lot more forgiving...
girlfriend mode, as
Yes.
we've discussed in previous podcasts.
Say that.
I think I can say it if I'm referring to
dirty word.
I'm referring to the controversy.
We're gonna get kicked off the internet. But yeah,
You can't talk about racism. Racism's bad.
So
Obviously, girlfriend mode is not racism.
it's a lot more forgiving. It has a lot more health stuff, I think.
Yeah, a lot of passive buffs and things like
Yeah.
that.
Oh. Yeah, and so the tree that I'm going down is the far right tree, which has this new idea called the anarchy system.
Which is a huge
So,
metagame.
It's
Involving
crazy.
stacking like finishing clips
So
without reloading.
every time you finish a clip, you get an
stack.
anarchy stack, and then every time you kill somebody, you get an anarchy stack. So theoretically, you kill somebody and you finish a clip, you get 2.
And you can get like, well, you can the cap on your anarchy stacks. It
By
starts out with like 50.
It has 150 to start.
Jeez. And it can get up to like 400 or something like that.
Pretty high, yeah. But the problem is
goofy.
with the anarchy. So you gain 1.5% damage with each stack, but you also lose 1.5% of accuracy with each stack. So it's a very
Striking a balance of where you want to be.
Yeah, so it's a
If you're doing
balancing
shotguns
act.
and up close, you probably don't care so much about that. You just want to have a lot of stacks.
But the accuracy loss is pretty noticeable. It's staggering. Like it's there, and you notice it, especially if you're using any sort of ranged weapon. It's in your face. You know that you're losing.
She's not a
accuracy.
sniper.
No.
Because if you take the right tree, in order to take the right tree, you are required to take every rank of anarchy. Is the important thing.
Yes.
It limit you. So the Borderlands skill tree works is in order to get to the next layer, the next tier of skills, you have to take at least 5 levels in the previous tier, and the first tier for that tree over there on the well, for me it's the right. Over here on the right
Yes.
is one skill that like buffs your shield or something like that, and then
Yeah.
4 skills in anarchy. So you have to take every single skill in anarchy.
Yes.
It's non-debatable.
Yeah, there's 4 skills available for anarchy, so it's not like
You don't miss
one.
You can't,
Yeah.
and it's impossible to miss out on any. So it's funny. She's interesting.
But then later, I've only played a little bit. I'm like level 10, 12, something like that.
Later is the order or something.
You
like
can.
that?
There's something about when you reload,
If you reload early, obviously you lose an anarchy stack, but you gain like chaos stack or something
There's
like that.
something, yeah.
Can't remember what it's called.
But the way it works is when
It
you
starts with an
reload,
E.
when you reload early, you lose all your anarchy. All of it. So it's like, you need to make sure if you want anarchy.
But it would get transferred to this other stack. Whatever it's called.
Crap, where's that
Dang.
ledge?
Yeah, how do you get
There's a ramp somewhere.
It's in the...
A pokey ramp.
It's in the hedge.
Oh yeah, that's right. It's in the far right corner. I believe.
Yeah. It's
Or
it's
this-
between the
to my
between
right.
the church and the main.
I believe it's...
Yeah, it's right there.
Here we go.
And her special skill is a giant mech who apparently is
Who
super
flies
awesome.
around.
What? How do you get in there?
Is there a hole somewhere?
Yes, there it is. We didn't need to break down the gate. You can see it. Just go to the church. Yeah, go.
I got it.
JD befuddled by hedge mazes. It's right there.
There.
Gosh dang it.
There we go then.
Hate it. Oh. Bogo bogo bogo.
Egon
Higo
Bokom.
bogo.
Egon Bokom, Jeff.
Whatever.
It's a well-known phrase.
I'm not a banjo
Aficionado.
because I was trying to come up with a pun. Yeah, so there's that. And released today is the new DLC, which is
The
Captain Scarlet's Booty. And it's about sand pirates, essentially. Apparently. It looks very fun, very hilarious. Do we have to hide?
No, maybe.
What are we missing?
We're
go
missing the
boom.
one you have to go into the toilet, and we're missing...
Oh, I have to go into the toilet as the pumpkin, don't I?
Yeah. Man, did we get... Oh, we got the Jinjos, right?
Ginger.
Yeah, I got the...
Yeah, you got the
Yeah, I got the Jinjos.
Just wanted to say.
And I think there's one on top of the... On top of the church.
Oh, on top of the church.
Yeah.
So, that's what we're playing 40 minutes into this podcast.
Seriously? Jeez.
Luckily, there isn't too much news.
Yes.
Just a lot of tiny things, as is the usual motor software
Alright, so
rendai around
let's
here.
get into this sucker. So...
Toilet in here?
Nope. No, it's the other one.
Wait.
Oh, wait, you'll go back in and get the...
Yeah, I need the
honeycomb.
honeycomb.
So, Call of Duty Elite, which was a paid...
Yeah, what was all in that?
had
Break it down.
heat maps and stat tracking online and stuff. Oh, crap. I mean, I never got it, so I don't know. I'm trying to remember everything that was in it.
A lot of stuff.
Yes, essentially a bunch of things. So yeah, that's going to be free now, though, which should have been free to begin with.
Because it's silly.
Because it's silly.
Well, and I think, honestly, I think the blowback after Battlefield 3's premium subscription really affected them. I'm stupid. Except he's not there. Definitely affected their decision to do that.
Yeah.
But now, so everyone who plays any Call of Duty, right? What was that only for Black Ops, or what?
I think it started with Black Ops.
Speaking of which, Black Ops 2 is now the highest pre-ordered game in history, breaking all the records for Diablo 3.
Or was it just for Call of Duty?
Oh,
I think it was this. I think it was the highest pre-ordered Call of Duty game.
Okay, in which case, duh.
Yes.
Never mind. That's not that impressive. Why did I write that down?
I don't know. Because you're crazy.
Yeah, I
He's crazy.
am. In terms of interesting Kickstarters and things like that, we're still getting about Obsidian's Project Eternity. We've gotten some updates since it came out. There was a screenshot of what it's going to be like, and it looks like a beautifully detailed game. They're doing a lot of...
What is Project Eternity, Jeff?
Haven't we talked about this?
I don't think so.
Okay, so Obsidian, right?
Yes.
Obsidian, the company that made several very famous Dungeons and Dragons based RPGs for the PC. Baldur's Gate or Neverwinter Nights. I'm pretty sure it was Baldur's Gate, which is famous, by the way. But also Knights of the Old Republic 2, which they took over from BioWare. Fallout New Vegas, which they took over from BioWare. But Chris Avallone, their head writer, is super famous for being able to write a really good story. And I think most of us who've played games he's written can attest to them being some of the best written games in games. Like, really good. bottom line. And Wasteland, that's a big one. And the original... No. Maybe I'm getting mixed up. Anyway, Eternity is their step back to Baldur's Gate and Arcanum and those old style top-down, build-a-party type RPGs, which Knights of the Old Republic was kind of a natural evolution of that.
I fell off the tower, for those of you listening at home.
But it's a Kickstarter. It's, as of like 2 days ago, the highest donated Kickstarter game in all of Kickstarter history. And it looks like it's going to be really cool. Oh, are you serious?
It's all good.
Are you serious, JD?
She was like drifting back.
I am never hiring you to get notes off of my church.
Okay.
So Eternity looks cool, bottom line. They're releasing details. It basically sounds like those games made on modern technology with modern graphics. It looks really neat. You should, if you're at all interested in this, you should look into this. So we're like done, right?
Almost. We have 6 notes to go.
Oh no, wait, I know where they are.
There's some on top of that lighthouse.
Over there. The lighthouse.
Well, quite literally.
Uh-oh. Wow.
Do not die. Go get some honeycombs and don't let the bees bite you.
If we die, do we lose everything?
We lose all of our musical notes. We have to get them all again.
Ouchies.
Yeah. We peak at however many we had, and that's our high score. They fixed that for Banjo-Kazooie, but yeah.
Well, they changed it for Banjo-Kazooie.
Oh, it was fixed.
Anyway, Eternity. So there's that. Chris Avallone actually, and a lot of the Project Eternity staff had asked me anything on Reddit recently, which, if you're interested, is really cool. They answer a lot of fun questions on there, and stuff that dorks like me would be interested in. And I assume dorks like you.
Dork.
I'm not a dork. 2 more. Where are they?
That is the $1,000,000 question, Jeffrey.
I hate this level. I spent forever looking for like 3 notes.
Oh, it's at the bottom of the well.
Oh, you're right. Yeah, you totally avoided a bunch of those. You were like,
I thought we emptied it at some point. Way to go. Speaking of dying.
I hate this camera angle.
Move the camera.
It won't let me. What's next?
Star Citizen? I don't know what that is.
Yet another thing that involves gamers giving up money. So, okay, Wing Commander and Freelancer are 2 really famous PC games. Freelancer was really cool. It's this not super old school. Oh Lord. Oh, JD, get me out of this. I'm scared.
Go get some honeycombs there, son.
Oh, Banjo Guru.
You should definitely swim to the surface.
I'm trying to. I drifted down. Reporting while playing this.
Do you want me to play?
No.
Okay.
So the guy who made Wing Commander, which is a really famous space sim, simplified space
Don't jump in the water.
thing. I'm not jumping in the water.
Okay, I'm just checking.
And
Yes.
Freelancer was the space sim that was really cool and sandboxy, and he's making a new one, and it looks really awesome. And this is pretty much exactly like what I told you for Project Eternia, except in regards to space sims.
Okay. Cool.
Look into it, anyone who's interested.
Apparently there's some new there's some new Skyrim DLC called Dragonborn. This is a rumor.
This has been, well, it's a rumor that was found by decrypting game files with the latest update.
So, probably true.
By looking at game asset names and stuff. Where are honeycombs?
I don't know.
I have an idea. It's risky.
Just jump, rat-a-tat-rat. Right. Oh, use the Wonder Wing. Just, yeah. Okay. Sorry.
This is intense. Okay?
So there apparently will be dragon riding, where you can actually ride the dragons.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool.
And as a huge Morrowind fan, what I'm excited about is there were some game assets found named Sothsheim, which, as anyone knows, is the name of the Nord-occupied island to the northwest of Vardenfell Island, which is... Are you serious? That hurt me?
It's fire.
I hate you, game. Hate everything.
Bears are not fire resistant, Jeff. Everyone knows this.
So there will be that. Some, for those in the know, maybe some Telvanni Wizard Towers, which is the name of the major wizard faction from Morrowind.
Okay.
Which is neat. But yeah, dragon riding is what
exciting
apparently
stuff.
most people are excited about. F that.
That'd be pretty
I want to go back to Morrowind, JD.
Do you, Jeff?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's okay. Also, let's see. Oh, the Wii U game stuff. So as
yeah.
we let you know
We got
a couple weeks ago, that Zombie U
and
was coming out.
a number of Wii U games.
Right, we're coming out 5 days early. They are no longer doing that.
Apparently.
As far as we can tell.
We were lied to. What do I...
Use A. There you go.
I'm not using A. I refuse.
Jeez Louise. A button will just slow you down.
I'm just gonna go get air.
Okay.
I'm scared. This is stressful. XCOM has taught me to take things slowly.
Yes. So yeah, they're no longer doing that. They're gonna come out the day of release, which is the 18th. So yeah, we won't get Zombie U until
thanks to the way Amazon
a couple
works,
days
we're
later.
not getting Amazon,
unless we buy it from the store, which we might end up doing. Woo! We finished the level. Now swim to the
it's like a
surface.
bomb defusal.
Yes.
Press the blue button. So yeah, if anyone took our advice and pre-ordered then, you probably got an email about it, but if you didn't get an email about it, and are like, F that, I don't want to have to wait 3 days to get my game, you should definitely just cancel it. There's no problem with that. There's no shame. There's no shame.
It's okay.
There's no shame.
Shh, it's fine.
You
Don't cry.
idiot.
Just keep going. Don't score smiles.
That's where I'm trying to go.
I don't need to. Look at you getting hurt.
I almost killed me.
Yeah, it's okay. We'd be fine by now.
We'd be.
We'd.
So, that happened. Sorry, a lot of stuff has happened since we were out for 2 weeks.
Lots of things and stuff.
SimCity had some videos released for the new one. Which is cool. It actually got me excited for it. We didn't... I swear we talked about this. I guess we didn't. Basically it looks neato. I wasn't too excited, despite being a long-time Sims game type fan. I wasn't too excited about the new SimCity, mostly because A, it requires Origin, which I am steadfastly against. B, it seemed to have some always-on online components, which are always really dumb. And, oh, there's where Cheeto is. Cheat book.
Did we get the witch?
Yeah, we got that one.
Witch switch?
We got the witch switch. You should get honey. But the new SimCity looks great. There were 10 minutes of gameplay where one of the designers basically goes through the general start of a city, and it shows a lot of really neat features. Zones, you don't zone them just wherever the heck you want anymore. They attach specifically to roads. Mostly as a mechanic so that you can now have, like, windy, curvy roads instead of just straight roads. And it actually works out and makes a lot of sense. Why would you have a zone out in the middle of nowhere without a road to get to? You know?
It's been so long since I played
yeah,
SimCity.
sorry.
I played one, like...
Jeez, come on.
Man, probably the late 90s. It was a long time ago.
Really? Like freshman year of college, we had a huge SimCity party. In your room.
I remember Marie playing it all the time.
Like 3 of us played it at the same time.
Did you? Did you really?
Aren't you gonna turn into a pumpkin so you can go through that door?
I'm going somewhere else.
Anyway, it looks neat. Problem is, it still is definitely gonna be Origin required, and for those of us who dislike many things with Origin, and generally EA's practices thereabouts.
EA? SimCity's EA?
Yeah, EA bought Maxis over a decade ago. Come on, JD.
Those dirty rotten scoundrels.
It's upsetting, basically. Because now it looks like it actually is a really cool game. Like, really neat features. Buildings that are customizable on weirdly specific levels. Zone density is determined by, like, road type. neat things like that. A lot of streamlining, which is, you know, obviously a buzzword for casualization sometimes, but sometimes streamlining is necessary. Like the whole zones attaching to ropes thing. Yeah, SimCity. There was another one just released about the new disasters in it, which is pretty fun. Because the disasters were always a huge part of playing SimCity, in case you weren't aware. If you played SimCity and never played with the disasters, what's wrong with you? Go back, do that. Summoning tornado, an earthquake, radioactive meltdown, aliens.
Play an ocarina.
I don't think that's...
To go back in time.
Well, that's kind of the equivalent of loading an old save, huh? You get to keep your experience,
play a flute,
but everything goes back. Finally, over the past week-ish, has been the New York City Comic-Con. Which, while not distinctly video games related, like all Comic-Cons, has a lot of video game stuff happening in it. Some important stuff. The Studio Ghibli helmed game that came out in Japan last year, called Ni no Kuni, is finally coming out in January, and there was some playtesting available at New York City Comic-Con. Studio Ghibli, as I had to remind JD, are the people who make all of the really, really awesome anime movies by Miyazaki. So, Spirited Away, and Ponyo, and Princess Mononoke, my personal favorite, and Howl's Moving Castle, everyone else's personal favorite. Just because it has Christian Bale, people slobber all over it.
Which one?
Howl's Moving Castle.
I haven't seen it.
It's pretty good, actually.
Really?
Yeah, people just like it a lot more than Princess Mononoke, which is completely
I haven't
unmerited.
I've only seen Spirited Away.
Yeah.
So don't ask me.
Anyway, the Ni no Kuni is coming out for PS3, and finally, it's like I said, it's been in Japan for a year. There's a DS version that isn't getting localized, and I guess it's kind of like a really weird but cool mix of Pokemon, Final Fantasy, and a Studio Ghibli film. It looks really beautiful and friendly, like any Studio Ghibli movie, with a interesting storyline, apparently. Basically, check it out. Look into it. Look forward to it in Japan. The localization is, of course, going to be top-notch. I hope so. I'm not a shill.
Fun word.
As I touch my wallet. Also, there was some fun stuff about the new Deadpool game, which obviously I'm excited about, and JD doesn't give a crap about, which is why I'm still talking.
I've seen a little bit of it.
I
guess I'm just not sure, from what I've seen, how it's going to be different than
any other shoot 'em up.
Shoot 'em up, beat 'em up. What have you, like Ninja Gaiden or?
I mean, it seems like it's pretty much just gonna be Ninja Gaiden with ridiculous Deadpool humor. Which is good, but like, if Borderlands was just a first-person shooter with Borderlands humor, it wouldn't be as good, because it's the action RPG elements that really make Borderlands stand on its own, you know.
Right.
And Borderlands is similar to Deadpool's humor, just even more violent for Deadpool. Yes. Although Borderlands 2 did have a lot more dark comedy than black comedy than Borderlands 1 did.
Yes. Oh yes.
Yeah. Especially with Handsome Jack.
Handsome Jack was
when he's
not
telling
a nice
that
guy.
story about scooping the guy's eyes out. So good. You might not be there yet.
I might have.
Might be a spoiler.
No, I think I've heard something about that. I don't know.
That game. I was really confused about what theme we were trying to go with today, and when we booted this up and you were at Freezy Peasy Peak, I was like, "What are you doing?
Freezy Peak.
We need to play this. You can't be playing this already." Wait, no, we're not Christmas, we're Halloween.
But I had to, in order to get enough notes.
What are you doing?
Running around. I mean, I guess I could have just gone to Golden State Valley, but...
No, we're out of time, so it makes sense. So, thank you for joining us today on our Mad Monster Mansion mextrusion. That has to be an M word for, like, exploration.
Mad Monster Mission!
Mission!
Look at me.
That was so easy.
I'm just a machine.
Yeah.
More M's.
M's are JD's
I'm a
favorite
master.
thing. Oh, shaking. Alright, so anyway, first of all, let's bigify. You know, being small has its advantages. Being full size is a little better.
I'm just pirouetting to victory.
They can't see it anymore, JD.
It's in small. You can make it smallified.
How are we gonna...
I don't know.
Alright, I'll figure it out. In fact, I already did. The past has already been changed. So, next week, we'll probably have some about that Borderlands 2 DLC.
Jeff probably will.
Yeah. Because your friends refuse to play with you.
Stupid people.
But you pre-ordered. Oh, you didn't get the season pass, right. Right. I forget that I have that. Yeah. Borderlands 2 DLC. Seriously, like, nothing's happening. You gotta cut us some slack for people. Until then, I guess we'll have a new game for you to watch us play. That's spooky and creepy. Woo! And, until then, just keep pressing. Keep tricking.
Keep treating.
Keep ending. To end.